Hey everybody, I'm Ashleigh Banfield and this is Drop Dead Serious, and I nearly dropped today when I saw video that's just been unsealed after, almost 3 years of gag order in the Bryan Kohberger murders. This stuff, I can't explain it, but I am transfixed watching it. Up until now, we've really not seen anything of Bryan Kohberger after he takes that goddamn selfie. Just a couple hours after murdering 4 kids in their beds, he cleans himself up in his shower and then he takes a selfie with a thumbs up. So proud of his work, right? That's about 10 o'clock in the morning after his 4 a.m. murders. Today, we're now seeing what he did after that. Surveillance video has now been released of Bryan Kohberger's every move after that selfie, that self-important, filthy, disgusting selfie. Turns out Bryan had a hankering for some groceries and some coffee, and he did what most of us do on any given Sunday. We go out shopping, we go to stores, we go get coffee. But the rest of us don't murder people just hours beforehand. So Gray Hughes from Gray Hughes Investigates, that's a YouTube channel show, was able to get his hands on these videos first. And he put them together in a really good sequential way. And so I called him and asked if he would just jump on this podcast with me to sort of do play-by-play and, narrate everything that was released and what we're seeing. But first, I just want to say a big thank you to you for supporting me and coming to this channel and watching my podcasts. I really appreciate it. I could not do this without you, without our community. I also couldn't do this without my sponsors. They make this possible every day in, day out. And Morgan & Morgan is one of them. And let me tell you, if Drop Dead Serious has taught me anything, it's that the world can be pretty crazy and having a good lawyer is super, super valuable. It's really important. Morgan & Morgan is a firm with over 1,000 lawyers, and they are good at their jobs. They win a lot. They've recovered over $25 billion with a B for more than 500,000 clients and 500,000 people, right? That tells you something. The results speak for themselves. In Florida, a client got $12 million after the insurance company offered $350,000. Pennsylvania, client was awarded $26 million. That's 40 times what the insurer offered, $650,000. Another client in Pennsylvania got $29 million after being offered only $500,000. And a Florida client again, $20 million when the last offer was a big fat zero. So what if that's you? Like, it could be, right? Maybe you don't think your case is worth millions, but why not find out? It's super, super easy to start a claim, right? At the very least, you should just find out and get what you deserve. You pick up your phone, a smartphone, it takes 8 clicks. 8 clicks. How easy is that? If you're injured, go ahead, take a peek. Go to forthepeople.com/Banfield. Again, forthepeople.com/Banfield. You can also click the link below, or you can scan the QR code on the screen, and please feel free to share all that with your friends. You can give them my code to forthepeople.com/Banfield. Okay, back to the case. Here now is my conversation with Gray Hughes, who has the show on YouTube called Gray Hughes Investigates. Gray, this video is absolutely jaw-dropping, and I was so transfixed watching it. I wanted to ask you, just before we start showing it, did you have the same reaction I did? Like the hair stood up on my arms.
Yeah, I don't know if I felt like just like that, but I was looking at it like, man, this is so creepy. This guy had just killed 4 people just the same day, but like 8 hours before, and he's just driving around, hanging out, buying coffee, doing whatever normal people might seem to be doing. I don't think anybody looking at him thought, man, that guy is weird or creepy. Maybe they thought he was weird or creepy looking, whatever, but
not someone you needed to avoid.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Well, let's go to the first. This is the first part of the video where he walks in to the Costco, all of these unsuspecting people around him. Walk me through what we're about to see.
Well, it looks like Kohberger, he enters the entrance to a Costco, and he's obviously having a drink of something, but his left arm is sort of hanging low. It seems like he's holding his hand kind of strangely there, and then he eventually puts it in his pocket, and we know that that's the hand that had the Band-Aid on it in his selfie that he took just an hour and a half or so, or 2 hours before this.
But the greeter has stopped him, and clearly, I know Costco. You got to show your membership card, and he's not doing
Yeah.
that.
I mean, isn't that like one of the most obvious things in the world? Who doesn't know that when you go to Costco, you need the card,
You can't walk
right?
in, and he got blocked, and that was it. Out he
Hmm.
went. He didn't get any further. But you're right. He had his hand in his pocket, and that's the hand that we know now had the bandage on it in the thumbs up selfie, which had been taken just a couple hours prior to this.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely crazy. But you see that selfie, and that's one he took not too long after he went back to Moscow and then drove home. And then an hour later, he takes the selfie. Then an hour or so after that, he takes off and goes down here. And here he is, getting kicked out of a Costco.
So this is important to note. This is Clarkston, Washington, and it's in the Costco that is like 33 miles south of Pullman and Moscow. It's like a 40-minute drive. He's not close to home.
Now, he's quite a ways down there. It seems like he's over there scouting maybe where to put the knife and maybe the clothing that he was wearing. I mean, I can show you on a map where
So then
just
tell me
in
where we
general.
are and navigate here.
Yeah, like way up here, I have a bunch of maps and stuff on my screen, but way up here is Pullman, Washington, and then clear down here is, Lewiston, Idaho, and then Clarkston, Washington, and it's right here is the Costco, and I think this is the entrance he was in, I believe, and then he parked back here, and you'll see in a minute his car actually drives out right along here and then exits this direction. So I don't know
Okay.
if you can see it, but like right here, this my mouse is pretty small here, but
This
right
is the
there.
road that we're about to see him drive because
Hmm.
he walks out of the Costco and then Lindsay, let's put that next video up where he walks out of the Costco and gets into his white Elantra. And every time I see this, I just think, God, this is the car that we were looking for so long.
Hmm.
And here it is, on surveillance, plain as day, not at night, not with the headlights. This is his vehicle that we're going to see in this picture. So the police have a beat on him almost like every spot that he covered in Clarkson. They, even though it was so small, that car, they were able to analyze probably in real time dozens and dozens and dozens of hours to find that little white Elantra making that trip.
Yeah, no, it's they have him. You wouldn't believe some of the on that surveillance footage, some of the shots that they noticed. I mean, I'm talking
It's
about
tiny.
on a reflection on a car up in a corner. I mean, it's the weirdest thing.
It's incredible.
It's amazing work. But yeah, right here is where it's pulling out.
Okay.
You're just about to see it go here, and then you'll see it go up this direction, and then from there it kind of comes up, and then we'll be going to Kate's Cup of Joe, which is I don't know if you can see it on the screen there. Let's see. Yeah, right over here.
So
Uh,
he's driving he got blocked at Costco and
mhm,
told, bugger off, you don't have a membership card. So he gets in the car and he drives to Kate's Cup of Joe. Lindsay, let's look at that
right over there.
next video. He's driven out of the Costco parking lot. It's that little teeny, Elantra. There it goes to the left of your screen. Heading out, he's going to turn to the right and drive up that roadway. And the next video is going to be Kate's Cup of Joe. What's interesting is that he just drives by it, Gray. He doesn't stop at Kate's Cup of Joe. If that's what he was looking for, if he was looking to get a coffee or something to eat,
Mhm.
explain where you'll see his car next.
It'll come in right at that on the upper right hand corner. There's a little hut looking thing with a roof on it. Something that's interesting to notice though is he doesn't come on that road right there. So you know that road that's right there outside. He seems to
That's
have
the Elantra there, right?
right. He comes in,
Okay.
but it's almost like he drove across from the Walmart parking lot into Kate's Cup of Joe because you don't see him on that street right before he's turning right to go in there. Because right,
He's
he's
also
coming. It's
like
pretty
really
interesting.
slow. Are you noticing this? Like
Oh yeah,
driving really slow.
yeah. It's kind of similar to where when he was driving on Walanta Drive a couple times after the DoorDash driver got there. He's
Yeah.
driving so slow, watching that DoorDash driver, just
Like
like
look at
that.
this. So there's another interesting thing that happens in just a second on the right-hand side of the screen. Explain what happens with the car just as it almost goes out of frame there.
Yeah, it just stops, like you were saying, maybe he is texting his mom or something at this time. I mean, he texts his mom all the time. I don't know how many times during that day, but we know he was just before, what was that? Just before he drove to Moscow at 9 in the morning, he was on the phone.
Yeah.
I think even while he
Oh,
was,
and then when he was at the house,
yeah.
that 9 a.m. revisit, maybe looking for the night
Hmm.
sheath, he's on the phone with his mom.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if she called him or if if he's got a phone call going while he's just stuck there. Like he's not pulling out, he's not waiting for
Mhm.
traffic. So it was 12:40 when he was at Kate's Cup of Joe. Now he's driven from Kate's Cup of Joe 3 minutes by car
Mhm.
to Albertsons. This is the parking lot of Albertsons. That's his car right
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, so he leaves that Kate's Cup of Joe parking lot to go to Albertsons at 12:43:41, and then, makes sense. About 2.5 minutes later, he's pulling into Albertsons right here, and he drives back, and you can see him. He sort of parks behind there he is in the upper left, pulling in behind sort of a dark
Yeah.
pickup truck with a back on it.
So weirdly, this Albertsons parking lot is like right beside the Costco. So he left the Costco, he drove 3 minutes to Kate's Cup of Joe, did that weird little U-turn driving slowly through the parking lot, and then drove the 3 minutes all the way back to the Albertsons, which is like the parking lots are adjacent to each other. There he is driving in. There's the back of the vehicle, another view of it coming into the Albertsons parking lot.
I can show you how close they are if you want to take a look.
Yeah.
So here is this right here is the Costco, and then just right there is the Albertsons.
So the
So he
parking lots are butted up to each other.
right, so he drove like 2.5 miles to get a coffee or something. I don't know. He's at Costco probably trying to get a coffee, and then he probably went over to Kate's Cup of Joe and for some reason didn't buy one. And then he goes all the way over to Albertsons. But what something I just want to say something really quick. So earlier when he pulls into Kate's Cup of Joe, which is right here, let's see, yeah, right there. I think it's hard to make it out, but like he drove by like this.
Yeah.
You don't see him on the road coming this direction, even though he left Costco and
Sure.
went this way. So I'm wondering if he kind of went into even the Walmart parking lot for a moment and then came back over here and turned right and then turned in to there. But we don't have that surveillance. But he definitely you can't see him driving right there.
Yeah, he's
That
just
port.
skulking around. He's good
Yeah,
at that. He's just a
yeah,
skulking human being, and barely a human being.
right.
Okay, so now he's back at Albertsons parking lot. It's 12:46. This is 9 minutes since he left the Costco and was blocked and told to take a hike.
Hmm.
Um, and he walks into this Albertsons and he's caught on video
Hmm.
from the back, like at the back of his head. But I think you can see him, right? That's him in the parking
Yeah,
lot right
that's
there.
even there. He just sort of walks. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we might be over analyzing him, but he just, the way he walks with his arms. I don't know. It's just strange to me, the whole thing. There he is right there. So he comes in and then they cut 6 minutes out because he disappears somewhere in the store.
Oh, they cut it out.
Yeah, there's two
Okay.
different clips. You put them together and then there's 6 minutes of missing time because you can just still see him right there off to the left in the middle there. And then 6 minutes later, he pops back up on the screen.
He's at the self checkout
Yeah, it's the self checkout right there. And
over on
here
the
he
left
is.
hand side.
There he is right there.
You know what I keep thinking about all these people, all these unassuming shoppers on a Sunday midday, literally brushing up against a
Killer.
maniacal
Yeah,
killer who
nut
has
job.
just finished his handiwork, 8 hours prior. Can you just
Yeah.
imagine knowing that that's you and that you were right next to him at this time?
It might be weird being somebody that sees this later. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I don't know if they can recognize themselves because everybody's blurred out except him. Maybe that's a good thing. It'd be kind of weird to think, man, I was standing right next to that
Oh,
guy.
they'd know. They'd know because this was the biggest story,
Yeah.
in this part of the world. And they'd know that when those details did come out that he was in Clarkson, Washington, at these stores, people would start to say, oh my God, I was too that day around noon. And so eventually I'm sure that they will see these videos and recognize themselves. It's just, I don't know why I'm making such a big deal of it. I just can't believe that this monster walked among us.
Yeah, this is one of the most interesting
Here he
cases that
comes
I've
out of the
ever
store.
covered. Yeah, there he comes right there. And, there's certain freeze frames that make him look like Frankenstein, and then
Lindsay,
maybe,
can you go back just to see it? I wanted to just look at that again as he walked out of the store. Because this is the only shot where you really get a good full frontal on him and the way he walks in his little bag and his shirt. By the way, same shirt
yeah.
where he took that selfie, thumbs up, so proud of his work from just a few hours prior.
It's weird. The shirt looks so much lighter and whiter, but I think it could be the same one, just really bright.
And here he is walking back out of the Albertsons. Again, just like it's any other day. This is what I think is so overwhelming. Like, this guy has just butchered 4 kids and nothing seems untoward. He's just out shopping.
Yeah. I mean, and he spent all that time getting a coffee. I'm just wondering if there was any strategy at all, just sort of, you know, being all in these different places. And I mean, I really don't know what he was thinking about, but I think that he was scouting out where to put the knife and bloody clothing. Now, some people think he discarded it just after leaving.
You don't
What do
think
you
so?
think? I mean, I don't know. Like if he left at
Oh,
104 and then 5:32 he shows up again.
you know what I think? I think he's a criminology student. He's not the brightest bulb because he's done so many stupid things that I've seen. Like taking your phone out with you to get in the car at 4 in the morning and then switching it
Yeah,
off as you're driving. Like that was the dumbest thing
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
But I do think he would have been smart enough, knowing his background in criminology, not to have a bunch of murder evidence in your car because he's been stopped multiple times
Hmm.
before. And
Yeah.
being stopped and having some officer say, "Open your trunk." I think he was at least smart enough after 4 o'clock in the morning to spend some of those hours between that and the showered up selfie, getting rid of that evidence. You have a theory about a tree. Where is that tree? And can you show it to me on the map and tell me why you think it's significant?
Yes, let me just there it is right here. Okay, let me move it over to the screen here. And there's this tree right here. I actually found it based on their document. It
Where
was
is this though? Where are we now in the
we
scope
are
of
in
all the different cities?
we're in Pullman, Washington, just south of Pullman. So here's Pullman.
Okay.
And when he drove back that morning, he turned right on, I think it was Kirkendall Road right here. This is how they have it on the drawn map that they had. And he turns up here, goes on to Johnson, and then he's picked up on a couple surveillance shots right here that actually I have now. He's picked up on those. However, right there, if you zoom in right here, there's a tree, and it was mentioned in the documents just after the paved road. And if you go to Street View here, like right there, watch this. So here's a paved road, and it's just after it turns to dirt. There's a tree, and apparently right under this tree, let me get it so you can see it. There you go. Right under this tree here, when it was reported, law enforcement came out and saw that there was disturbed earth. So what if on the way the law enforcement drew this map, not they just based it off of cell tower information. So what if he didn't do that and he kind of cut over in a different area, like over here, and then went up there early in the morning and buried the items there before going back into Pullman. So like at 5:30 in the morning, he would just pull over, maybe it was a pre-dug hole, and bury the items there. And then he goes back to the Pullman. Then he goes down and scouts out. And then at 5:32 in the evening, when his phone pinged right back in the same area here again, maybe he turned it on to get his bearings and then turned it off again at 5:36, retrieved the items, and then went and discarded them, knowing that nobody's after me now. The coast is clear. He's feeling a hell of a lot better.
So you
I don't
think he
know.
buried them and then unearthed them and then discarded them elsewhere at a different time?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible because they did say that there was under that tree, a person saw a vehicle there during that exact time that his phone pinged.
Didn't
Crazy.
somebody also say that if you go to that spot and you look, you would be able to see a vehicle coming from a long way away without them seeing you if you're pulled over in that little notch?
Yeah, I think you could. I mean, if you're, let's
I
just see.
remember hearing a report that that's a spot where you could pull off the road and you would be able to see a vehicle coming if you're doing something nefarious,
Mhm.
and get out of there quickly if you needed to.
Yeah, I mean, definitely can like way around that corner there, and I'm sure you could probably see a
Well,
vehicle.
surely they had cadaver dogs
Yeah,
going to that spot. And
yeah,
anything, any kind of blood evidence, because there would have been lots, um, including the knife, uh, it would be easily retrievable. You would be able to sniff that out a
yeah.
mile
You
away.
think, but I think it wasn't reported until like 2 months later. So I'm not sure how that would affect the
Oh,
blood being in the ground.
oh,
Maybe they'd
it
still
would
be
be
able to
there.
smell it though.
It,
Yeah.
yep, no, it would be there for sure. Anything that he put in there, there'd be a scent, there'd be something. And I'm sure that the Moscow police did everything they could to gather
Wow.
every bit of evidence for the prosecution because they were lacking some things.
Well, in that document though, it doesn't say that that's what they did. He said he brought metal detectors out. They checked around, but there was disturbed earth when they got there.
They
Metal
didn't dig it
detectors.
up and get a dog. I mean, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know if they didn't do that, but they also checked
Oh.
this little. There's a bridge right over here where they checked in the water.
Where is the place where the woman reported to the police that she saw someone in Clarkston, Washington, I think standing in the median, dressed in business casual clothing? I think she might have mentioned there was a white car nearby. Where did all that happen?
I think I actually have that mapped out too. Let me see if I can.
But I'll bet you he wasn't, he was trying real hard not to stand out. Like that to me doesn't sound like it would have been him, you
It was
know?
right here, just to throw that in there, but it was right over this bridge, and apparently, like, he was kind of down in this area or down in
Okay.
here, but he was dressed pretty nicely. I mean, that is kind of what he was wearing, right? Like, it would looked out of place, this lady said, because he was wearing like business casual, walking around, you know?
Okay, he's left the store. That's him crossing the road out in front of the store into the parking lot. Gray, he's heading to his vehicle. He's going to get into that vehicle. I don't know how long I think he was like sitting in that vehicle for 6 minutes in the parking lot, right?
Yeah. And we don't know. I think they cut that out of here. Like, we don't have to wait for him to sit in there for 6 minutes, but he did sit there. I think it was, yeah, about 5 or 6 minutes. And then he pulls out and then takes off. This is a better view of that. So in the upper left-hand corner, he's just pulling out from outside of the. There's a pickup truck that he's pulling out in front of right here. That's actually the top of the video. So
And
it's.
that's where he's leaving. You
Mhm.
know, again, I can't believe the amount of detail the police were able to find. That's like a pin in a haystack, being able to see that little white car in a big parking lot with a lot of other white cars. I just wonder how many man hours and, eyeballs they had to put on these parking lot videos to try to track that Elantra.
I think what they did was they went backwards. So when they had him at Kate's Cup of Joe, and his cell phone was there, and they know that's his car, and then they sort of went backwards and were able to see that he went in, was at Costco, and then they know for sure that he bought something at Albertsons. But I think they were looking at surveillance before they had any of that information. You know.
Yeah. I just keep coming back to it's like in any other kind of story, you'd be thinking, okay, big deal. It's his car. But there's something about seeing that man and seeing this car after almost, 3 years of a gag order, and knowing nothing about what this monster did after that selfie, after that thumbs up selfie. We knew nothing. The rest of the public knew nothing about this man's whereabouts until his dad came to pick him up and take him back home to Pennsylvania. So I think it's for that reason that I find it so gripping to be able to watch him frame by frame, what he was doing in the hours after such a dastardly deed.
Yeah, it is kind of weird just seeing him be act so casually. I think that's kind of the really the big takeaway from this portion of the videos is just looking at him and just thinking, how can anybody act like that after just killing?
What they'd
Oh,
done.
yeah, and you know that the conspiracy theory people out there go, see, because he didn't do it. He's just he's just walking around because he didn't do it. He's acting natural. I mean, it's pretty shocking the
Yes, he
number
just
of people.
consigned himself to a lifetime in prison for no reason.
right, with no chance to appeal, because that's what everybody does when they're innocent. Really,
Right,
they don't ever give
right. You
themselves
know,
a
fight
chance.
like hell until the very last moment, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's just like I keep saying to my viewers all the time that I feel like we're all lambs to the slaughter if you can't recognize the wolf among us. And this is the frustrating thing. You see this guy, you see all of those innocent people who he's brushing up against, and you just can't recognize the devil even when he's right next to you.
yeah, that's I my when I was following the case, I've been following the case since the beginning. It's just the whole time for me, it's just been trying to put the puzzles together, and I think it's one of the most interesting cases that I have ever covered. I mean, it's right up there. Jodi Arias was a pretty big one back in the day. That thing was, you got to admit, if that case was today, that might be one of the biggest cases in the history of mankind.
Well,
I mean,
17 days on the stand. I
yeah,
mean,
right. I mean,
when have you seen that?
I don't know. Like HLN used to have these like after dark shows, these just spin-off things. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. But this is so interesting to me because you don't really get a lot of cases where the killer killed for no reason that people
Yeah,
understand. It's usually like,
right.
oh, a girlfriend or some kind of weird,
There's
money or
some
something.
passion, there's some
Yeah.
motive that makes more sense as sinister as it is. There's something that's there. And this is where, I was left so frustrated and gobsmacked after the press conference, post hearing where he confessed. They didn't know. They still couldn't come up with a motive. Even through all the electronics, they just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. I think that Bill Thompson, you know, sort of just let down justice in a way. He got a really great, I mean, an amazing plea deal in terms of like that's almost the second worst you could possibly have. But at the same time, he should have just asked. So even if he believes that Kohberger would lie, there's no reason he couldn't have asked and said, "So tell us, why did you do this?"
Yeah.
And walk through your step by step and tell us where you put the knife.
I
Even
don't
if he,
understand why
yeah,
there wasn't more of an elocution because I've seen
yeah,
plenty of these deals, and those guys are meant to stand up and say, "You tell us why the hell you put everybody through this," especially those parents across the courtroom. They did it for BTK, and that guy stood up and enjoyed every minute of his elocution, but they
hmm
do it. They do force these people to stand up and say why you did this, or we will not spare your life.
hmm and why didn't he do it behind the scenes even? I mean, why not say, "Okay, we'll do this. Tell us what happened." Instead, it's, we were told that these guys just lie and stuff, and man, that's just lame.
That's
You know,
bullshit.
I know it is. Just ask the question, and whatever. If you determine what he's saying is a lie, great. But maybe he'd want to tell the truth because he wants to tell you all the cool details. Some of
Sure.
these guys get off on that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'm just a
Yeah.
lowly fellow citizen, right? But I feel so cheated and so unsatisfied by this. I cannot even imagine what it's like for the parents. And then I can't imagine how diverse they are in what is satisfying to them. Because for one parent, Steve Gonsalves, this was the worst travesty since the murder of his daughter, being cheated out of justice. For another parent, many of them actually, but the Chapins, they just wanted it all to go away. And from the very outset, Gray, they said, nothing is going to bring Ethan back. I don't want to be dragged through all this.
Yeah, and the thing is, I totally get their side. I could understand not wanting to have the years and years of appeals, having to show up to court, and then eventually it would just be something that would be lingering.
Never ending.
Yeah, never ending. It's just like having a missing child almost, right?
Yeah.
You're just
I mean,
every day,
listen,
you know.
you get a death penalty, you are in this for the rest of your life. You are in it. If you are 60, which I think Jim Chapin is, he's in his 60s, you will be dealing with these hearings until you die because they will probably go on for over 20 years. I still have cases that I covered when I came to the United States. 30 years ago. I still have a case that hasn't gone to the death penalty yet. She's still waiting on Texas death row.
Wow.
And I cannot imagine being the parent involved in all of that. she happens to be one of the parents, but I can't imagine being the family member having to deal with every single machination every time you get a filing.
No, I think that would just be like I always say it's similar to having a missing child. You're always just every day. There's never a normal day because you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting for
Right.
the next thing. And I think it turns out where, I mean, I think that's where Bill Thompson failed us is because him getting the answers from Kohberger, even if he's lying, whatever, and maybe asking where the knife was put or the clothing, that at least would give the answers that a trial would try to come up with. And that would be probably something that maybe Steve might have been okay with. At least
Yeah.
you got answers, but there's none. There was absolutely nothing, just a deal cut and no answers, and just apparently we're all just supposed to be okay.
There's this report that he's going to give an interview. I don't know if the Idaho Maximum Institution is going to allow it because a lot of institutions don't. Just ask the Menendez brothers. They're not allowed to do a TV interview.
Hmm.
But there's this report that he's going to do a big sit down interview and that, some big network might be paying for it and may end up paying the family of Bryan Kohberger.
Hmm.
I have my
Yes.
feelings about that, but I feel like the family of Bryan Kohberger, they've been victimized in a lot of this as well. They didn't do this. Their lives were just ruined as well. They've got the stench of this all over them for no fault of theirs. And, people will tear them to ribbons forever. And I feel very, very sad for them. And of course, I feel even worse for the
Yeah.
families who lost their loved ones. We have gone on, and I know, Gray, you've got such a busy schedule because you've done this incredible piece of journalism today. I'm really thankful that you did this with me. Thank you for sharing the video. Thanks for doing the play-by-play, and thanks for being a dogged journalist.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
My great thanks to Gray Hughes for joining me. And again, his YouTube channel and his show is called Gray Hughes Investigates. And he's got more videos that he's going to be releasing soon as well. So I highly recommend you check out his channel. So my big thanks, like I said, for taking the time to go through all of that with me. And my thanks to you as well for jumping on. It's sort of last minute. This came, it sort of fell into our laps very last minute. So sort of unprepared and throwing it together just by the seat of my pants. But as always, I'm very thankful for your support, and I'm very thankful for our community. And I always ask you, if you remember one thing, it's that the truth isn't just serious, it's drop dead serious.